From the heart of America, Rutledge Publications present the Canine Chronicle Video Magazine. Yes, it's the video version of the Canine Chronicle, devoted to keeping those interested in the sport of dogs up to the minute in news about handling, grooming, and health. You'll be meeting top breeders, handlers, and judges. Owners will tell you about their favorites, and best of all, you get to see dogs from all over the world as they are put through their paces at shows from around the world. And now, to tell you more and to introduce our features, here is your host and publisher, Rick Rutledge.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Canine Chronicle Video Magazine. And Judy, please tell us where we'll be going on this show.
I'd be glad to, Rick. We'll take you to the Monterey Peninsula in California, to Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and back to California for the mission circuit. We'll look a little deeper into the care and conditioning of the racing greyhound and talk to a couple of very experienced dog show handlers. Let's go to the Monterey Peninsula.
And first up is the Del Monte Kennel Club's 68th edition of the Classic of the Pacific Dog Show. And classic indeed, because it is held at the lodge at the Pebble Beach Golf Course, one of the most famous courses in the United States, and it has been turned over to the dogs for this show on the 18th green.
The sporting group places under Mr. Derek G. Rayne are as follows. Group 1 went to the Golden Retriever champion Sunshines, 4 on the floor, owned by James and Deborah Berry. Group 2 goes to the English Springer Spaniel, champion Springer Lanes Churchill, owned by David and Cheryl Vaught, handled by Bruce Schultz. English Cocker Spaniel, champion Lennon's Precious Image, is owned by Linda and Robert Gall, who took Group 3. Fourth place goes to the Sussex Spaniel, the Vicar of Lexfield, owned by Aaron Emmons and handled by Pleuris Davin.
Mrs. Eileen Pimlott judged the hounds, and Group 1 went to the Basinchi, champion Arubex the Victor, owned by Patricia Kimbrough. The Basset Hound, Vintage Warren's Wallingford, owned by Barbie and Carl Sjogren, took the Group 2nd. Group 3 went to the long-haired Dachshund, champion Glenavin St. Nick, owned by Mary Olich Nye. And Group 4 to the Greyhound, champion King Mark's Lilac, owned by Andrea Morgan, Julie Anthony, Ron Begonia.
Joe Tacker judged the working group and placed the Siberian Husky first. Franca's Moonshine Serenade is owned by Maureen Gunderson and handled by Sandy Burke. Group 2 goes to the Giant Schnauzer, champion Glendora's Coquita Von Thief, owned by Glenora Norwood, handled by Jerry Werrick. Group 3 goes to the Alaskan Malamute, champion Onax Tougher in Hell, owned by Randy and Wendy Core. The Portuguese Water Dog, champion Gozo Dumar, owned by Robert and Carol Sipple and handled by Pix Ramage, to Group 4th.
The Terrier Group judge is, again, Derek Green, and he placed the Smooth Fox Terrier, Secret's Heir Unapparent, owned by Jimmy Krantz and Robin Stark, as winner of the group. Group 2nd went to the Standard Manchester Terrier, champion Salutaire's Mum's the Word, owned by Shirlene and Brent Reeves, Myrtle Clinch, and George Whiting. Group 3 to the Soft-Coated Wheaton Terrier, Karen Ayer's Spittin' Image, owned by Brenda and Jack Tracy and Susan Strange. And Group 4 went to the American Staffordshire Terrier, champion Cindelar's Touch of Class Orion, owned by Jane Rebello and handled by Bruce Schultz.
The toy group winners were chosen by Max Magda. Group 1 goes to the Pekingese, champion Al Koo Weekend Warrior, owned by B.J. Verzi and Gene Thomas. Group 2 to the Toy Manchester Terrier, champion Salutaire I Do Declare, owned by Myrtle Clinch, Peter Rank, Bill Ullman, and Shirlene Reeves. The Shih Tzu takes Group 3, champion Show Off's Flying Sparks, owned by Pamela Magetta. Group 4 to the Toy Poodle Stonewood Ramblin' Rose, owned by Roberta Stone and Stella Meyer.
Mr. Magner also judged the non-sporting group and gave first to the Bichon Frise, champion West Oak Wizard of Paws, owned by Susan and Peter Barron and handled by Frank Kresge. Group 2 to the Standard Poodle, champion Dason Delano, owned by Mrs. Edward Solomon Jr. and handled by Freeman Dickey. The French Bulldog took Group 3, and that's Francois Hardy de la Peru, owned by John C.F. Petty and handled by Pauline Waterman. And Group 4 goes to the Keyshawn, champion Windspells, Bohica von Starkeys, owned by Eleanor Newhard and Robin Stark and Jimmy Kranz.
Mrs. Pimlott gave Group 1 of the herding group to the Bouvier de Flanders, champion Windsong's Fiera, owned by Mary Silkworth and handled by Norma Gibson. Group 2 goes to the Old English Sheepdog, champion Mop Tops Just Right, owned by George and Dorothy Ingemills. The Pembroke Welsh Corgi, Jade Tree Keepsake, is owned by Joan Gibson Reed, takes Group 3. Fourth place goes to the Shetland Sheepdog, champion Rosewood, Tori Von Chateau Acre, owned by Susan Ferroni Kaler.
The Monterey Peninsula is one of America's great tourist areas. So let's take a break from the dog show now and have a look at this beautiful region. This show is often called the Derek Rayne Garden Party because it was Mr. Rayne who came up with the idea of holding a show here at the Lodge and who worked out the difficult logistics. Therefore, it was a special privilege to interview one of America's most popular judges. My very special guest today is Mr. Derek Rayne, and Derek has had a great deal to do with this show. Tell me about how it got started.
Well, originally the show started over at the old Del Monte Hotel, which is now the Navy Line School, which is about 10 miles from here. And then it came over here to the lodge where we are now. But unfortunately, it grew too big, and it was at one time the 8th largest show in America. And the hotel at that time said, no, we're sorry, it's too big. So for 10 years, we were on the polo field, about 3 miles from here. But it lacked the wonderful ambience and atmosphere where we are today. So I and a bunch of other fanciers in the club brought it back here to Pebble Beach where it belongs. And we figure we don't have a big show, but we have a quality show.
Well, it is unique holding the show here at the lodge. What kind of problems do you encounter with this situation?
Well, the main problem, of course, is parking, because there is not the parking available for big motorhomes. We have to transport the dogs in if they have a distance to come.
How long have you lived in this area anyway?
I've lived in this area 48 years.
Well, now, I know you grew up in England. How did you find the place?
Well, I came here once on a vacation. I was working in Los Angeles at that time, and I didn't like it. And I came up here, and I fell in love with it. So I decided to move here without a job.
Without a job?
Without a job. And then I went to work in a clothing store, which I now own. And I've been very fortunate to be able to take time off from my business to judge dogs all over the world.
Well, tell me, getting back to the show is limited to 500 dogs. Do they have to do anything to qualify for this event?
Yeah, they're blue ribbon winners. The dog must have won a blue ribbon prior to the show here.
Well, also, this show must cost the club a great deal. The club doesn't profit from this event, does it?
We lose on this show. Fortunately, we have another show in August in Carmel, which runs over 2,000 dogs, and that show pays for this one.
Well, how about getting along with the hotel staff and the people running the hotel? They can't be used to dog shows, can they?
No, they're not, but they're wonderfully cooperative. The Pebble Beach Corporation has been most generous and very helpful in putting on the show and clearing up afterwards.
Well, thank you very much, Derek. I've especially enjoyed doing this interview, looking you eye to eye for once.
Well, I never looked down on you, but it's the first time I've looked up to you.
Thank you very much. And my special guest is Mr. Derek Rayne.